Hi luxurious queens, welcome to Life with Lokie, and today I will take you along on a day trip to the city of Lyon, which is the third largest city in France after Paris and Marseille. Lyon is not only the gastronomic capital of France with a huge selection of Michelin-starred eateries and plenty of local wineries, and since the 16th century, Lyon was the capital of the European silk trade, producing the most stunning silks in the world. To me, nothing is more beautiful than the prints and colors of these silks, which is the last delicate step in the long silk process, which we will get a glimpse of today. And of course, if you enjoy content like this and would like to support a small YouTuber like myself, I hope you subscribe to my channel and hit that bell to be notified for future uploads and to explore luxury together. Today, I plan to visit a silk atelier family workshop in Lyon by the name of L'ATELIER de Soierie and learn about silk screen printing, and I will of course link the webpage and address down in the description section below if any of you are interested. Now, silk screen printing is referred to in France as méthode lyonnaise, where a stretched piece of silk is dyed with one color at a time, and each stage only filling in the little bits required for that color, which may be scattered across the design of the scarf. The technique of this traditional silk screen printing produces a sharper and more vivid print than the more common inkjet printer. As we have turned up slightly late to the workshop, I will attempt to talk through some parts of it, and the rest will be our interactions with the artisan, so do enjoy. Now, curated in 1890, this family business is managed by the fourth generation of silk printers. At this workshop, we discover several traditional techniques of printing and coloring on silks, which range from silk screen printing, printing with stencils, Indian block printing, and even hand painting on the local Velvet Panne, which is a fabric made of silk chiffon and velvet patterns, which is only woven and painted by hand in Lyon. Oh.
But it was improved in Lyon by the Lumière brothers, the guys who created the cinema. So they were very productive and they created a lot of things which were connected with chemistry. And being able to use this chemistry to engrave.
To start with, there are 7 steps to silk screen printing. The first step is design creation. The design to be printed onto the fabric is printed out onto a transparent acetate film, which we will see in a short while, which will be used to create the screen or the stencil. Step 2 is to choose and prepare the screen. Choosing the right mesh screen involves assessing the complexity of the design and the materials to be printed on. The mesh screen is then coated with a layer of light reactive emulsion. Step 3 is to expose the emulsion. The film which holds the design is then placed onto the emulsion-coated mesh screen. This is placed under a very bright light, which causes the light reaction emulsion to harden and develop. As such, the areas of the screen covered by the design remains in liquid form, while the other parts harden. Number 4 is the creation of the stencil, which is the part in blue. In order to leave a clear imprint of the design on the screen, the emulsion in liquid form is rinsed away while the hardened emulsion remains. This will be carefully dried and the completed stencil is ready to be used for print.
When you give your pattern to the engraver, it tells you how many negative. So every part you want to stay open on this fabric, so every part you want to print. That's what you hide with the black or the red. This one is painted by hand, but nowadays it's mostly made by computer, of course. And the basic principle is that you apply on the whole surface of the screen. So it used to be silk, and nowadays it's polyester because it's more reliable in time, especially the tension. Because if the tension changes, so does the place of what you're printing. So to line up properly the colors, it's better to use those materials. So you apply on the whole surface of the screen an emulsion, like a gelatin, that reacts to the light. And the base it was made with silver, exactly like the photo. And when you expose it to the light, you have a chemical reaction, and this place becomes hard. So you put the negative in front, exactly where you want the engraving to be made, and you project the light through it. So every part in the transparency, the light goes through and the gelatin reacts and becomes blue and colorproof.
Oh.
But every part which is protected, even the smallest one, even the smallest dot you put on this, does not react because it's protected by the paint.
The blue.
So as the engravement is made, you take this off and then you wash the screen. Everything which was protected goes away and you get the part you print. It's extremely precise because it's the light which makes the job. You are not scratching it with your hand. And we have about 1,300 screens, something like this. The oldest we have are from the 1950s, so they are made of wood and silk, and they still work. So what has changed is like the tension when the color penetrates the fabric. It is stopped by the guar, and you get the precision of the print you're looking for.
Very impressive.
Step 5 is preparation for print. The silk to be printed on is laid down flat on the printing press and the screen is carefully placed on top of it, ready to print. Step 6. Printing. The screen is now lowered down above the silk and a thick layer of ink is applied to the top of the screen. A squeegee is used to drag the ink across the whole length of the screen, covering the full stencil. The ink is then pressed through the open areas of the stencil, which transfers onto the silk beneath. Step 7. Quality check and finishing. The ink is cured by pressing the silk through a special dryer to reveal a smooth color-fast finish. The silk is then washed to remove all traces of emulsion residue and is ready to be enjoyed.
How were the stencils cut? How were the stencils cut?
Actually, they are engraved against the fabric, and the printer moves along the table to print. So this is a very small table. A normal one is 40 meters long. Hermes, they work on tables that goes 100 to 150 meters long.
Wow.
But everything is made with machines, so the tables are heated, so it dries very quick, and everything I do by hand is made with machine. It allows them to work much faster, but also to print patterns which are more complicated than what I do. I print averagely 6 to 8 colors. They print averagely 20 to 25. The most they've been printing would be 57.
Wow.
57 just for the screens, it's almost 29,000 euros just for the screens. You don't even have the silk. And it becomes to be a very, very complicated pattern to print because you work on silk. So it's an animal fiber very sensible to humidity, which means every time you print a color, as you wet the fabric can move.
Yes.
If you print 20, 25 colors, you know the fabric moves. So you have to create a stencil that does not match the original drawing, but that matches the deformation of the fabric so the color fits correctly.
Wow.
That's for them, it usually takes them 2 years between a drawing and the printing when it's averaging 20 to 25 colors. So
That's why it's so expensive.
That's why it's so expensive because it's a lot of engineering.
Yeah.
And voilà, they go up to 9 layers that you overprint, especially when they do aspects of animal skin or something like this. So you blend, you overlap a lot of colors, so you create more colors, and you get something which is very realistic. See the color penetrates fully. That's what you're looking for. Then once
so you're printing from the back forward out, so it is
the color goes through.
So the end of it is actually you want to see from this side out, is it?
Pardon?
So the end of it is that later on you will be seeing the scarf from bottom
on
up.
both sides.
Bottom up, okay.
Normally. Normally, but it's like, you see, I print on the top, and that's what I get on the other side.
Okay, nice.
And you see the difference between this and what you have on the wall. The colors are different.
Yes.
Because at the moment the color is printed inside the fiber, but it's not set. So if you put any water on this, the color goes away.
Yeah.
So the 2 steps to set it in two steps. The first one is that you have to steam the fabric. So you heat the fabric, so the steam creates the proper chemical reaction for the color to stay. And once you've been doing this, you wash the fabric because the gum I use in the colors that you saw, very viscous. Every time I print, it stays inside the fabric. So here, you're here, and if you touch, you see it's very hard.
I can look.
So that's the gum. So when you steam the fabric the chemical reaction makes them change. And when you wash the gum out, you always know there is a part of the color that goes away with the gum, so it changes second time. So when I look for my colors, that's what I have to think about. I know the colors will change, so I have to create a blend of colors that matches what I'm looking for after. And what is different with those inks, this is acrylic-based ink, so it's a plastic, and you have a pigment in it, so you have something which is physical. I use dyes, and the dyes totally dissolve in what I do, so you have nothing physical inside. Those are opaque. When you print a color and you print another over it, the other covers the color. Me, it creates a new color because they are water-based. You see when you print the blue at the top, when you print on the one which is in the middle, you create a deeper blue. Which makes it a bit harder, but you can have more colors, it's more subtle when you print.
Right. We do watercolor, so it's kind of the same thing when you're layering
Exactly.
the colors.
That's a pattern from we print for a client, typical from Normandy. 3 colors, and this is made with the screen from the 50s. But then you see the tension has changed because the yellow doesn't line up perfectly with the black, so you have some white spaces.
Oh yeah.
Then it's made with a tool which is 70 years old, so you know.
Okay.
You can't expect to get better. That's the thing.
Yeah. It's still quite accurate.
Yeah, but it's still here as well, the red beads.
I was telling you, you see.
Oh,
You
nice.
see?
Yeah.
And then you've got the back side.
Yep. Oh, okay. So you have to put some markers first for this.
No, this I do it by hand. With this I do this.
Wow.
So I use the gum in my colors.
Okay.
Every time the gum dries, it creates a crust. So the color you print over it has a hard time to go through. Which means that, for example, here, I had the screen which was totally open, square. I take some paper, made a hole in it. I printed the pink. Then I took some gum with the color, applied it on the fabric, let it dry. I did open the paper, printed the blue, did the same with my finger, open.
Okay.
So at a point I printed, but on this side.
Wow.
Interesting.
On some parts you have so many
Quite
layer
thick
of gum,
layer
which
of
is
gum.
too thick. So
Yeah.
I print a black over it. The black totally goes over the part where you have nothing, but it stops by the gum when you.
On the other side, okay.
Then
and
I
then you
steam-
restart.
I steam the fabric, and then when I wash the gum out, all the parts which were under the very thick layer of gum, as the gum goes away, reveals the color. So this you can't do it twice. It's always a unique piece.
One time, yeah.
But what I've been doing.
Wow.
Things I do, like I do also
This is very
micro
nice.
fades, where that's also something you can't do with machine. When you screen print like I
Very
do.
nice, yes.
It's like in the screen, which is open, I put black, burgundy, red, burgundy, black, burgundy, red, and I blend them like this,
Yes,
and then I
yes.
push, and so it's a micro transition from there to there, and I've been doing this in this side, this direction, and this
Ombre.
direction. I've been changing the screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you've got quite a good penetration for
Yeah.
something which is done like this, and micro fades.
Nice.
Done things like this where you have satin side,
Oh, one side only.
and then
Yeah.
this. Here I print a pattern with the blocks I use there. Those are 100 years old.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
You carve those blocks.
I know I don't. No. You see, but I work on textures. I do many things you can't do with
okay.
machines. You see.
Okay.
Practiced in India, in Iran, in Turkmenistan, in Vietnam, in China, in Japan,
So nice.
Turkey, all along the Silk Road, basically.
Does the density of the silk impact the type of dye you use, or how many times you need to apply the layers?
Why? Definitely. You have to. For example, this one is a bit thicker. I have to print 2 times.
Yeah.
If I work on a blend of silk and wool, which can be very hand with a wood chisel, so there you've got you can see the hits of the chisel.
Yes.
It's it's meant to do a metric printing, so the part there fits with the one there, the ones there fits the one there.
Wow.
And
like
this
a
is-
towel.
This is a pattern in 8 colors, so you have 7 other blocks you print
7
inside.
layers, okay.
Huh?
Nice.
I have patterns with 10, 15,
Wow.
20 colors you print. So the difference with the Asian blocks is the size. European blocks are larger most of the time. So you use a tool to print. You can't print it by hand.
Uh-huh.
You see, Indians, they work like this. This is an Indian block, 10 years old. You take the color, you aim, you print. You take, you aim, you print. This, it's this, this, it's this. Ours are bigger, so you have different layers of different woods. This is usually a fruit wood. This one is a pear wood, very strong. Then you have a lime wood, which is softer. So it's hard, soft, hard, soft, hard. You take the color, you apply, you print by pressure using a printing hammer. Heavyweight made of metal, round handle made of wood. You don't use the head, you use the handle. You drop the weight. This amplify the
To get a consistent impact on.
well, exactly. So you hold the block so it does not jump, and you print like this. So this absorbs the shock, so the wood does not break. If it was one piece of wood, it would break or split.
Yes.
And you can work. So this one is 180 years old, for example. Those are 130 years old, made with metal. For every part of the pattern, here you have details which are extremely thin. So this you can't do with wood because it breaks.
Yes.
So the engraver creates a mold for every part of it. It's cast with a pewter, so it's a blend of lead, tin, and antimony, which was used to make all the letters on the old printing machines. That's the exact same. Except here they make the different molds, put the liquid metal, cut the shape when it's cold, and then they use little nails to put it on it.
Wow.
This one is in 15 colors, so you have 14 colors you print inside. And for example, you have this that goes inside this, this that goes inside this.
So they overlap, kind of.
And on those, you have to center in one another. You don't even overlap. It has to be
You have
perfectly
to
inside one another.
Superimpose.
So difficult.
You use the shape of the block. Usually you have pikes, you see, that
Yes.
prints dots.
Yeah.
That visually helps you to put them correctly.
Oh, okay. So that's the marker.
Like,
Wow.
see for the ducks,
Oh, so
nice.
cute.
This is nice.
different technique. You draw the pattern on the wood, you make a hole, you cut a copper blade, you bend the metal blade, and you
Yes.
put the blade in the hole.
Wow.
So detailed.
Every duck is
And
bent.
it is made by hand. Everything is made by hand. It's a know-how which just disappeared in Europe. You find it in Iran, in India. You still have person working like this.
Wow.
Nowadays in Europe, you make a block with synthetic resin. You engrave with a laser.
Yeah.
The print is the same. Take the color, you apply, you press. In France, you still have film companies that still print using this process. In the north, they mostly do wallpaper. In the south, they mostly do textile. It's a technique that appeared mid 17th century, it's the Sun King era, and it's something which has been democratized in patterns on textiles, because before only the person who were really rich could weave or embroider, but with this you could afford things for everybody. Some which would be very high, very complicated, some very low. 1, 2, 3 pikes. Four, you always have the number 4, which is hidden inside. Here it's the point here at the back of the duck. All right.
Yep.
So when I print like this, I print 1, 2, 3 dots.
Yeah.
The one at the top tells me to put the one at the bottom.
Oh,
the one which
okay.
is hidden tells me that I just printed this duck and I have to put this one at the back there. So
Yes.
I'm aim, I
On
put
that same duck.
Okay.
same when I go aside.
Yeah.
And then to print the colors inside, you will be using the shape of the block, because every block has a unique shape. And the engraver gives it a special shape. You see, for example, he puts details on the side of it.
Okay.
Yes.
This goes inside this. This goes inside
So
this.
detailed.
This goes inside this. This goes inside this. Every new pattern you use, you have to understand how it works, and you have to practice. This one, for example, is easy to read, but it's another thing to manage to do it correctly. If you are 1 millimeter off with the block, you
No.
see it.
Yeah.
So you have to be perfect every time. It's a process which is not meant to do something perfect also. Every print you make is unique, different from the previous and the next one. But that's what makes it interesting also. You have something, a print which is very vibrant.
So what would we consider your signature pattern or?
Piece of fabric.
Oh.
Then you go to the fashion designer and he cuts it as you want and he puts it as you want. But it's the beginning of the standardization of the fabric.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be doing unique pieces, but they would produce this. And they see, for example, on the catalog from 1866, you have no pockets, but they did some pocket for her.
Oh yeah.
The belt also, it's made with the extra that is put.
Fabric,
So
yeah.
you do as you want.
Okay.
So this is like a very early pattern book. Or
We found our way, in a way, you can see it like this.
yeah.
Yeah.
These are all the patterns.
We have print, so as it overlaps, it creates new patterns.
Very good.
Are these series available for us to purchase?
I wish, because normally
I know it's your baby.
Not
but-
for sale.
Yes.
it's like we have set no prices with my boss. Maybe if you want to ask, you can do something. At the moment, I
Upstairs station. Okay, we'll go have a look upstairs.
Something like that is really a
Oh, she's painting over the thing.
Thank you for joining me today on Life with Lokie. I hope you enjoyed learning about silk screen printing as much as I did today in Lyon. If any of you are coming to Lyon, do feel free to drop by this boutique for an eye-opener experience. If you're new to my channel, I hope you subscribe to my channel as there is more exciting Paris content videos coming up. So stay tuned and take care, Queens. Goodbye!